Good morning, everybody. Welcome along to Football Talks. Fans from Premier League teams around the country, get into the comments section. Let me know what you thought of your team's performance yesterday and the fallout from them games. And fallout is definitely a word that we are going to start the show with today, particularly in that Spurs-Chelsea game. I'm sure you have seen the video. If you have not, it is viral now all over social media. We're going to start with that Thomas Frank, Jed Spence and Van der Ven fallout after the game finished yesterday. We're also talking Liverpool back. Mo Salah, the hero. The Egyptian king is back scoring for Liverpool and bringing Arne Slot his first win in 5 in the Premier League, putting the Scousers right back up there into the top 4 as well. I'm allowed to say Scousers, I'm a Mancunian, so I think that's fine, isn't it? I'll get away with that one. Anyway, Liverpudlians, Liverpool fans, are you happy with your team's performance yesterday? Do you feel like you are back in the mix now? Look, Salah doesn't play well and he gets goals. Yesterday, again, I think it was the same story. Are you okay with that? Is that why Arne Slot is playing him? Has he vindicated in keeping him in the side? There we go. I don't think he's played well at all for a while, to be honest, but get into that. Also, give me your thoughts as well, everybody. Spurs fans, Chelsea fans, Maresca needed that as well yesterday. We'll start with Spurs against Chelsea, but the headline from it isn't really what happened on the pitch, which should have been a massively important win for Maresca and Chelsea, which puts them straight back up there in the Premier League table, in the mix for the top 4. Probably now looking likely to be their best chance this season in terms of finishing position. Like Spurs, but Spurs fans yesterday booing their players, booing the way that the team was playing. If you watched the game, we had a bit of a technical fault on FUTV doing a watch along with it, but the majority of that game, I watched it later on as well after the stream finished, and Spurs were awful yesterday. Absolutely awful. And that, I think, is, again, I think they've had 1 win in the league this season at home. That's 5 wins in a row for Chelsea at the Spurs Stadium. Is this why Spurs fans are upset? Is this why they're annoyed? But why the hell is Jed Spence and Mickey Van der Ven walking past and ignoring their manager, Thomas Frank? You'd have thought, new manager in at the football club, quarter of the way through the season, things are looking up, or have they now settled and there is a little bit of unrest at the top? Is the pragmatic, boring football enough for Spurs fans because they're not scoring goals as they used to at the start of the season? They're drying up and the connection and their forward play has really dropped off. And there is a lot of unrest there, but we're still trying to find out exactly why there was this whole walk past situation going on. I mean, I'm looking online right now and I'm seeing Spurs fans, professional lip readers. Someone can find what Jed Spence was saying here. This is on a video of him walking past Thomas Frank and the staff. Like, the ignorance of some of these players. Like, players are not happy when they lose games, but Mickey Van der Ven here and Jed Spence, honestly, who the hell do you think you are? Like, looking in on this, it just looks like Jed Spence is muttering a load of words here that he's not happy. Something to do with the manager, the way the team is playing. You can only guess at this stage, but it has to be the way that the team is playing because the boos from the fans are aimed at the players, obviously. And I think what Thomas Frank was saying, he wanted the players to go and shake hands, applaud the fans. Being booed, I think the players would then look at the manager. This is how you're making us play. And now you want us to go and clap the fans. Look, I'm guessing. I'm completely guessing here. But if you haven't seen the video, it is being posted everywhere on social media at the moment. And is quite damning on both of them players. Like, I look at that and I go, that for me as a Man United fan is the traits of Marcus Rashford in there. But Jed Spence, like, you've only just got back in the side, mate. Like, settle down. Like, what's wrong with you? Spurs fans, tell me more. If there is any Spurs fans actually who were at the game yesterday, was you booing? And do you think that these players are right to storm off and not applaud the fans because you were booed? Let's not forget, Chelsea are a big rival of Spurs and they have won the last 5 visits apparently. I didn't know this stat until yesterday. And it 5 wins in a row at Spurs. They have the best record out of any Premier League club at Spurs' stadium. So you can see why the Spurs fans were upset. But that apparently, again, though, when you look at Spurs, still, they are poor at home. Away form is holding Spurs up at the moment. Who'd have thought it? Who'd have thought that Spurs away from home would have been better than they were at home? But again, another defeat at home, more drop points for Spurs in the race for the top, but they're just not scoring goals from set pieces like they did against Everton. That's all right, and that keeps you up there. And obviously, set pieces are all the rage this season, and they are important in the game of football like everything else is. But open play, Chelsea did not give them a sniff yesterday, and Chelsea should have won that game 3 or 4-0. The chances they missed in the second half, scandalous. But look, they're not bothered. They won the game, and it has moved Chelsea right back into contention, right behind Spurs. In fact, Manchester United, Chelsea and Spurs are all locked on 17 points and separated by goal difference alone. But this, just to put it into perspective, Spurs at the start of the season were the leading goal scorers in the league, and now have been caught by the likes of Manchester United, my team. So you look at Spurs, they're not scoring enough goals. Yes, you could say that they are defensively a lot better. They're not conceding as many, but I think it's the brand of football that Spurs are playing, and that, I think, is something that the Spurs fans are not happy with. And then, obviously, when you get moments like this, when you get moments where you are not creating things, the players are then walking off and not applauding the fans, you get the unrest between the fan base and the players. The fans are then not getting behind the team. It causes that horrible atmosphere in a home ground. And trust me, as a United fan, I know this. When that atmosphere starts to take over, the players really do end up reacting to it in the wrong way. And it starts to get a little bit too much. Then the information from the bench gets misled, and it all starts to curtail into a bit of a disaster. And it's not looking good for Spurs at the moment. And them pictures and them scenes, like, there's also a story going out about Xavi Simons as well. I'm just reading through this now. The flop that nobody is talking about, Xavi Simons. Well, let's talk about it for a minute. But be blunt, he fits the stereotype of a typical Spurs player: lightweight, off the pace, hesitant, and lacking aura or presence. He certainly doesn't resemble a £51 million signing. Yet another expensive import from the Bundesliga, struggling to adapt to the intensity of the Premier League. This going on now. Spurs fans talking. Subbed on, subbed off. Spurs and what they have brought in. I like Muani. Like, what did Muani do? He looks like another player that just looks lost in the Premier League. Xavi Simons also. Without Maddison and no Solanke for Spurs, them proven Premier League players who've been here for a while, they are weak and they are not cutting it. Maybe Bergvall staying on might have made a difference. Obviously, he went off concussed and was forced off the pitch early doors. You're guessing there, aren't you, if he'd have made any difference. But Spurs right now, falling away in terms of their home form. Away form keeping them afloat, and just inside the top 4 still, Spurs. So it goes to show the fall-off, because Spurs right now are being booed off the pitch the way they are. You'd have thought it'd been a disaster. But do Spurs fans need to look at themselves here as well and say, look, we're top 4 right now. We're still in this. 4th place in the league after 10 games. From where they finished last season, it's not bad. Inconsistency, though. Draw a game, win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game. There is a little bit of inconsistency creeping in to that Spurs side now, and I think that's the concern for a lot of them Spurs fans, and I think that's where it's getting a little bit dicey there anyway. On the other hand, for Maresca, again, an important win when they needed it. It could have gone so badly. If they'd have lost that game, Chelsea, then Maresca would have been looking at bottom half of the table. He would have been in. If you're looking at the points right now, Chelsea on 17, they'd have been languishing down there in probably 12th position, going off the other results and what's happened. And that's, like we've said before, that's not good enough for Chelsea. After the money that they spent this summer, world champions and all of that tag and everything that comes with it, you just got to look at that and say, yeah, big win, massive win. A lot of talk on Garnacho again from the Chelsea fans. The Chelsea fans are not taking to Alejandro Garnacho, are they? They're not. And I'm not surprised one bit. So every single United fan and everyone in the chat knows that Garnacho is not the man you need when the chips are down. And honestly, this guy is in it for himself. I'm just going to keep on saying this. But taken off yet again by Maresca. He hasn't got it. And the talks from the Argentina camp, and I can't remember, apologies for the former Argentinian player, international, well-renowned over there in Argentina, talking about Garnacho and him not getting into Scolari's squad for the World Cup. Someone just needs to bring him down a peg or two. Someone needs to put him in his place. He's just too arrogant, thinks he's already made it, entitled, and I just think, pardon the point and the actual link to it, but prima donna, like, it's not going to work. It isn't going to work, and I just think Maresca has, and Chelsea, as solid as they was yesterday, and when why can't I actually say his name? Caicedo, bloody hell, I couldn't pronounce his name for a minute then. If Caicedo plays for Chelsea, Chelsea get a result. If Caicedo is off it, Sunderland last week, Chelsea lose. He is massive for that team. And Caicedo, I think, is the linchpin and the hope for Chelsea this season. That's how good that player is. He's fantastic. And he ran that midfield and bossed Spurs yesterday. Absolutely phenomenal again. But it's a bit night and day at the moment in between weeks. And Chelsea's form again, when you look at Chelsea's form in the league, very similar to that of Tottenham. A defeat, a couple of wins, then another defeat, then a win. 9 points out of the last 15 for Chelsea. And that, again, is probably what the fans are looking at and saying there is no real rhythm there in Chelsea's game at the moment. And I feel like Chelsea will continue on this path. I just don't think their side is settled. And when you've got players like Gittins, again, I like that comment there about Xavi Simons, another import from the Bundesliga who is struggling in the Premier League. It just does not come across well from the Bundesliga to the Prem. And again, two players there on show yesterday. Gittins coming on. If you see the miss from Gittins, you will laugh. Like, you won't understand how he missed it. It's criminal. But again, that's Chelsea right now. They'll take the win and they'll run away with that because they weren't fantastic. They just had a little bit more up and at it energy than what Spurs did, and that's what got them the win. One lucky goal, persistence from Caicedo, goes in, João Pedro puts it in the back of the net, and that is the only highlight from the game, apart from the missed chances near the end of the game that Chelsea had to really put that game to bed. In fact, if they'd have put a couple of them away, they themselves would be in the top four ahead of Spurs on goal difference. So I don't think the two borrowed. The 3 points is all important right now, but again, the inconsistencies in that top four is there for everybody to see. And I think we need to talk, apart from Arsenal, who are just cruising at the moment. The last 5 games, Arsenal have won all 5 games of theirs. Bournemouth in second have only won 2 of the last 5. Liverpool in third have won 1 of the last 5. Spurs have won 2 of the last 5. And Chelsea then in fifth, actually, have more wins in the last 5 than the 3 teams ahead of them in the top 4. It's so up and down and inconsistent with every team at the moment. In fact, the form for the teams in and around 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th is actually better than the form for the teams in the top 4, which goes to show how competitive the Premier League is. And the importance of Chelsea's win there yesterday. Yeah, you're not playing fantastic, but 3 points and gathering momentum in this Premier League this season is all important because there is 4 points separating Brentford in 12th and the top 4. That's how close it is right now. It is jam-packed, and you need to be consistent like Arsenal are, and they'll probably walk away with this league at this point because of that I've just described there in the form. Liverpool themselves, moving on to them, quickly, just before I get onto that, let's just get into the chat. Thank you for the membership renewal there from Sean. I love that, mate. It's fab seeing channels grow along for the ride, says Sean. Appreciate that, mate. Loads of comments coming in about Caicedo and people talking about Manchester United should have gone in for him from Tom over there. Good comment. Morning to everybody who has just joined us as well. There is so many comments on the inconsistencies and what happened, and people having a go at what happened at Spurs as well. Knowing Man United, look, they'll turn up against us next weekend now. You know how it goes with us. I'm so delighted we sold Garnacho. He's a show pony that has one trick, and that's always trying to run in behind. He can't pass very well and can be very greedy at times. Not surprised he was subbed off, and subbed off again it was. Moyes is showing the importance of that engine needed in the Premier League. Gravenberch at Liverpool as well, making the difference. And Gravenberch yesterday for Liverpool on the score sheet in a, let's just call it what it is, a massive win. Huge win for Liverpool yesterday, and Arne Slot in particular. The pressure relieved, Liverpool back into third at least, and I just think a result that everyone around Liverpool needed. Knowing a lot of Liverpool fans and the way that everybody's been talking, I think it was massive for Liverpool yesterday just to get 3 points. Like, the performance probably could go out the window for Liverpool yesterday, and the points was what was necessary. And that, I think, is that big sigh of relief from Liverpool fans that we're feeling on social media at the moment. Yes, there's still a little bit of unrest and still uncertainty. Mo Salah isn't playing well, but Mo Salah, the king of goals, does it again for Liverpool. That was a massive goal for them yesterday, and he's just there. He's there when it matters, Mo. And the problem you've got with Liverpool right now is you're playing Mo Salah because he does that. He just scores. That's it. He has that moment in him that can make a difference. Now, Liverpool's defence has not helped out. Obviously, Mo Salah scored against Brentford last weekend as well. So Mo Salah scoring there, but the defence is that bad that it gets overshadowed, and the other teams are scoring lots of goals as well. Liverpool's defence is shocking, but a clean sheet for Liverpool is probably the most important thing to take for them from that game yesterday. Mo Salah scores his normal goal that he gets, but because they got the clean sheet, it looks even more important right now. It stopped Aston Villa in their tracks. Their run is now over as well, and they are back down in the bottom half of the table. Their run of 4 straight wins, couldn't make it 5 against Liverpool, but safe there as well. Like, just to say, Aston Villa are bottom half of the table, but are 3 points off second in the league. Again, what I was talking about before, that shows you how tight this division is and this league is right now. And wins are more important than performances. Look at Arsenal again. I hate to keep pointing them out, but they're not playing great. They're just winning bleeding games. And they're cruising at the moment. They're absolutely cruising because of everybody else's inconsistencies. And if Bournemouth do not beat Manchester City today, which is highly likely because it's a tough game, then Arsenal are going to be 7 points clear. And at the moment, that is on Bournemouth and Liverpool. Can I see Arsenal losing 3 games this season now? It's hard to say that at the moment with them only conceding 3 goals all season. It's staggering, their defence right now, and that's what will win them the league. They've got players that can turn it on up the pitch, but nobody can score against them. That's the problem you've got. Another clean sheet for Arsenal and another 3 points. Everybody else, defence is all over the place. Lots of goals conceded. In fact, the best defence outside of Arsenal right now is Sunderland with 7 goals conceded. Who'd have thought that? You know what I mean? That's ridiculous. I mean, Sunderland play against Everton on Monday Night Football. So we'll see. Another chance for them to actually move up the table. They'll be fancying their chances in that game. But again, that's why Arsenal will win the league, because of the defence. And unfortunately for everyone else watching, we will have to deal with that fan base, the Arsenal fan base that is, because it will be unbearable. But again, it's the inconsistencies of everybody else. This has happened before with Liverpool when they've won the league. Other teams not hitting it. If one team is having that moments like Arsenal are, they will probably end up walking away with it. To be fair to Arsenal as well, they are the leading goal scorers in the league. They've scored more goals than anybody else alongside Chelsea, and they've conceded the least. They've won more games than anybody else. They deserve to be where they are. They will win the league if the inconsistencies of everybody else continue. January could be key in terms of teams bringing in players like Liverpool solidifying their defence and making improvements there. I think Liverpool are probably, with them being the champions, the only team that could really catch Arsenal right now. And again, they're going to have to invest, but I just don't see it at the moment. Arsenal are settled, and I just feel like they will just keep on moving away because Liverpool will lose again. I mean, it's Liverpool versus Manchester City next in the Premier League this weekend. So, again, that's Man City and Liverpool taking points off each other, while Arsenal probably win another game and move further away. And then they've got 3 defeats in the bag even more. Like, if City and Liverpool go to double figures point-wise away from Arsenal, then I don't think they can catch them. They need to stay within single digits. They need to stay within single points. If they can be in and around 6 points going into spring, then it might be on. But anything above 9 points, it's game over. The title's Arsenal's. And there's nothing that I've seen anywhere in Arsenal's armour that's going to fail. A million miles away. But you've got to be able to hold out at the other end. And that's what United don't do. And every other club doesn't do in the Premier League. And that, again, is how Arsenal are going to win this league. But Liverpool fans, talk to me. I mean, are you happy with Mo Salah? Again, happy with the win? Where are you at? Let's get some comments in on this now, everybody. Keith says, Arsenal have turned it around. They were good. They were god-awful against us in the first game of the season. I can't believe their defence is being called the best when we had them look like a Sunday League team. But they kept a clean sheet against us, mate. And that's the difference. They held out, didn't they? And when you look at it, that will be looked at in games like that when Arsenal are crap and boring. That will be how they win the league. Like, nobody talks about these games, but all anyone's looking at is the league table at the moment and Arsenal's points, clean sheets, wins. And then we can say Arsenal are boring to watch, but they're the leading goal scorers in the league as well. You can't win. And that mixture there, I think, is what nobody else has got right now in the league. And that, I cannot see Arsenal throwing it away. Even the big bottle jobs Arsenal, I don't see it happening at the moment. We'll see. If they lose a game, it might affect them. But the squad depth that Arsenal have got right now, they've built a team there to win major trophies. And they have to win this season, and I think they will. We need a prolific striker. It will take Sesko time to develop into a clinical striker. His headers lack power. Cunha isn't clinical. We need Mateta, not buying players out of the Premier League unless too good. Like Manchester United will invest in January, I think. Well, they'll look to bring players in January, but I think there was a lot of confidence in Benjamin Sesko still. But Crystal Palace got their win yesterday as well. So, again, they're back in the mix again with theirs. By the way, Man United lost me my bet yesterday. I had my accumulator there. I had wins for Fulham, wins for Brighton, wins for Arsenal. I can't remember who the other one was now, actually. There was one more game in the Premier League that somebody... Oh, it might have been Palace. So, Palace, Brighton, Arsenal, Fulham, and Man United to win. And Man United let me down from my win yesterday. Had to be United that did it as well, didn't it? So annoying. Could Bournemouth do a Leicester this season? I don't know. I don't think so, because Leicester had Spurs to contend with. Bournemouth have got that Arsenal side to contend with. So that's the difference. The question is, yes, they are playing well, but they've got over their habits of blowing it at the end of the season. Have they got over it? Sorry, Andrew says there, of blowing it at the end of the season. That, again, is where it will be tested. But I think they're going to be so far ahead. They've got room to have these meltdown moments, and they can afford to lose a couple of games. And I still think they'll come back and find a way around it. That, I think, is why I'm sort of giving up a little bit on them not actually bottling it right now, because even if they did, they're still probably going to win it because no one else is good enough. City don't stand a chance. They don't. And I I'm just not seeing anything from Liverpool that makes me feel they can beat Arsenal or catch them. I mean, look, Liverpool would have to go to the Emirates and win, and I don't see them doing that. I think Arsenal are too strong. You've got to take points off your rivals. And do you know what? Liverpool did do that. Obviously, they beat them, but you can't afford to lose 4 games in a row in the Premier League and then challenge for the title. At any stage of the season, you can't afford to do that. And that will have definitely ended Liverpool's chances of challenging for the title this season, I don't think. And Arsenal champions this season would be unbearable. Their fans would drive me crazy. Let them have their moment, mate. I mean, Arteta needed to win something. The amount of money that he spent. As a United season ticket holder, I hope Arsenal win the league by Xmas, so stopping the Bindippers and the Stockport Bitters winning it. That's one way of putting it, Gary. No real title challenge, just like last year. If Arteta bottles this, he belongs in jail. Ooh, yeah, that is it again. It's like it's a one-team race again, and we talk about the Premier League being the best in the world and the most competitive. Competitive outside of challenging for the title, yeah. Competitive for the top 4, fantastic. But for winners, no. It's failed us. It really has. And that, I think, is something that needs to be talked about as well. I just cannot believe Liverpool have fallen off so much like they have. And we're talking about that after they won yesterday as well. But, yeah, I honestly, right now, looking at that table and looking where the teams are, everybody else is fighting for top 4. And everybody else, I think, is, honestly, the teams at the bottom. I mean, when you looked at the Premier League table again there, it's hard to really say. For instance, Newcastle, if they win today, if they win their game against West Ham, I'd expect them to, even though it's in London. They move up into the top half of the table. 15 points and are 3 points off second in the league. Do you know what? It's so tight. It's ridiculous. I mean, going all the way down, Burnley, who are 17th in the league, they are 7 points off top 4 right now. I think this is the craziest season ever in the Premier League in terms of how tight it is, so compact. I mean, Burnley yesterday, if they'd have won, that's difficult because it's Arsenal, there'd have been an actual start of a gap building from the bottom 3. Right now, Nottingham Forest are 4 points adrift of safety from Burnley. You kind of start looking at that then and going, even at the bottom of the league, is the relegation fight almost over? Look, Forest show fight yesterday and have still only got 1 win. It's 2 games into Sean Dyche's Premier League tenure, and it's 1 win from... it's no wins. 2 games, 1 point for Sean Dyche. And you could say Manchester United at home, difficult. Bournemouth away, yeah, that is difficult also. But you can't ignore the fact that he hasn't won yet still. Yeah, he won in the Europa League, but it's all going to come down to them points. It's all going to come down to them points in the Premier League for me. Forest on 6 points then. It's 4 points to Burnley. And then it's tight all the way up. It is tight. You can move from 13th in the league all the way into the European places, pretty much. And that's how tight it is in the Premier League. I mean, good for that, but at the top and the bottom seems to be starting to drift out. It could be a point here where we don't actually have a relegation fight or a title fight on our hands this season. Pretty disappointing for the Premier League. Don't forget, everybody, please pop a like on the video as well. Make sure you hit the subscribe button here on Football Talks. There are our main talking points from yesterday. I'll probably have more to talk about tomorrow morning after Bournemouth beat Manchester City. in that game this afternoon. We will be covering that game as well. We're doing a watch-along for the City and Bournemouth game later on as well. So we're on Rival Watch. We're looking at Bournemouth hopefully beating City. Oh, where are you at? Would you take a draw in that game? Because they're both around Man United as well. But give me your comments. Get into the comment section below when the live is finished. Thanks again, everybody, for watching this morning. I appreciate you all and all the support. Likes and subscribing, please. And I'll see you all tomorrow on Football Talk. Cheers, everybody.